has you finding the barrel nuts. The barrel nut is a little teeny nut like this that's round shaped like a barrel. I've never seen a barrel nut before, but anyways. In this piece of wood, this is one of the side pieces that finally figured out because they had a picture that had this hole in it. You have to insert this barrel nut into this hole such that the little slot in it lines up this way. Now this piece has got the letter B on the end of it, and on the side of the loom there's a letter B written in magic marker right here, and over on the far side over there's a letter A written on. They also say that the barrel nut has to go to the inside of a loom. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to turn this way, put him in here, and then they say to take this long threaded guy and run him through from the back. You can see where he sticks out right there. So this and see if this works. But that's the concept. I'm going to have to turn the video off and get a little bit closer to actually work on it. And there's what that looks like after it's attached. Now I'm going to go do the same thing on the other side. The next thing that you have to do seems a little bit silly to me, but it told me to remove this piece of wood that was up here. And in 3 languages it says replace, at least I'm guessing it says the same thing in all 3 languages, Vernangan and Ersetsen, which I believe means take this piece of wood off. So I've done that. And it looks like what we have to do is replace it with this piece that is longer. The logic being that that piece was short enough to fit in the packing box, but once we get into actually using it, we want the longer piece on there. So now I will see if I can't screw this guy back in. Whoops. I'm not going to tighten him up fully just yet. And we have to put these 2 screws back. And I'm guessing I have to find the hole from which is one. Hard time finding the hole. Well, anyways, hopefully you get the idea that this is a replacement for this temporary block of wood that they had on there to start with. The next the directions after I've gotten these 2 extensions onto the top of the castle are for putting the little shelf on the top front of the castle. And here's that shelf. It's a kind of flimsy, lightweight piece of plywood, maybe about 1/8 of an inch thick, although I'm sure they measure it in metric. And that's just going to slide right into this little slot right there. Okay, there it is. And we have to put this piece, which also has a slot in it, onto there. That's that. I'll screw it in tight, and now we've got our front shelf. It says made in Holland, but it's assembled in Wisconsin. Here we are. The next step in the directions said to lay the back beam, the two side supports for the back and the warp beam roller thing. I got the names wrong, but laid them out like this. And now this is eventually going to sit, I think, something like this. So we'll put this through this hole, and then we'll just gently put that guy into that hole. That's supported there. We need some screwdrivers, some screws, and I think I left the screwdriver up here. Yep, handy dandy screwdriver. This board is going to be the back warp beam. Now, it was very unclear to me as to which board this was, because there's another board that looks identical, except that this one has a bunch of little screw holes in it. And I think that that is going to be used for the base of the treadles, because it looks like they have to be attached to a board that's about this size. So I'm guessing that this one wouldn't need screw holes in it, and that this one that has them will be used elsewhere. So now this board has to be fastened here. There's some screw holes. And we'll take the last of the 50mm screws that they've given us and screw this in. I'm just going to give it a start the first time. As you'll notice, I do have a supervisor checking out my work. And we'll swing back over here again. Tilt the camera back just a little bit. The back beam is on. Did that off camera. It was a two-person job. I needed have two supervisors. Look at that. Okay, again, the back beam is on with its supports. I'm not sure I fully understand the logic of the way they use polyurethane, almost like bolts, but they're bendable. And those are held on from the side with screws. We put those in, and now there's a couple carriage bolts at the bottom that I'm supposed to tap into place and then tighten. So we'll do that next. And now we tighten. The wing nuts on here just a little bit bigger than the opening. Okay, the back is on. This next step is going to be extremely putsy, and I'm only going to show it to you once. I've got to do it 14 times 12 or something like that. It's way too big a number for me to calculate in my head. You can see this board, this will be one of the treadles. And there are 12 little screw holes in there. I've got a bowl full of small screws, and each one of those holes needs a screw inserted almost all the way into it. So I'm just going to do one or two of them by hand here on the floor, and then I'm going to go sit at the table and do the rest. But this will give you an idea. So they go in fairly easily, thank goodness. but it is going to be very putsy. There we are. That's 2 of the 12 screws needed in this board, and after this board I have 13 more to go, like that. So I'm going to do that offline. If you've seen it once, you've seen this. What is 14 times 12?